Scotty Cameron Putters. Why are they so expensive and are they really worth their money? Hi guys, I'm Ali Taylor. Today we're going to look at Scotty Cameron Putters. Why are they the price they are and are they good value? But first of all, if you're new down to my channel, welcome down to Ali Taylor Golf. If you are a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. The idea of today's video is to give you a bit about my insight as to these putters. You know, why are they so good? Are they so good? And should you be looking to spend this amount of money that these putters are, and is it going to help you improve your golf? Right then guys, so for years, Scotty Cameron Putters have kind of had that reputation as being the ultimate putter. You know, you look at the number of guys on tour who use Scotty Cameron Putters, and you look at the number of guys who win on tour with Scotty Cameron Putters. And I think there's been almost this belief built up, and I think it's kind of the word of mouth thing has been the best marketing, that the best players in the world use these putters, therefore they must be the best. Now, I'm very lucky that I've got the entire range down here of the new Special Select putters. So there's different designs, different head shapes, different neck shapes, and they're very much aimed at maybe personal preference on look, what your stroke does during the putting stroke, and try to match up kind of looks, feel and performance. So if we look at the way the Scotty Cameron putters are made, so all these putters are machine milled and hand finished. Now, it depends who you talk to as to whether machine milled or completely handcrafted is best. I think the argument with machine milled is they're able to make as close as possible, ideally, perfectly the same. I've got a Newport in my hand here, each Newport head should be exactly the same. Now what I would say is, even though they're apparently made exactly the same, you do hear about tour players who, Tiger Woods is particularly picky with this, he'll pick two heads up and he'll just visually see something that he thinks looks different. So some of the tour players can be very, very picky with putters. But Scotty Cameron putters are predominantly between blade and mallet. Now this particular range there's no insert in the face, so it's one piece of metal. Got different weights in the bottom of the club. Now generally speaking, the weights tend to change dependent on the length of the club face. Now when you do look at putters though, I think the first reason a lot of guys pick a new putter is obviously the old one isn't holding enough putts. And predominantly, and this is, I would say, a little bit of a frustration for me as a coach and a fitter, people still tend to pick a putter up, say, oh, I love the look of that, hit a couple of putts, and if they go in, happy days, I'm going to buy that. And I think with these putters, when in the UK you're looking at £350 plus, I think in America you're looking at kind of $370 plus. You know, it's a lot of money to spend on a golf club where maybe you just hit a couple of shots. And I think what's interesting nowadays is golfers will spend, certainly, you know, in the UK £450 plus, and in America $450 plus on a new driver that you only hit, hopefully at maximum 14 times around. You'd pay anything for something that you only use 14 times around as a putter. But I think there's this stigma still that, you know, you shouldn't be spending a lot of money on a putter, but you should spend a lot of money on a driver. And I kind of understand a little bit of the logic, because predominantly when you go and buy a new driver, you maybe see a big change to begin with. And it can maybe be done over a sustained period and with launch monitors and good, accurate feedback. There's kind of a real justification as to why you're making that change. But I think a lot of the emotional buy for guys now is, like I said, they stand up, hit a few putts on the putting green, even without anybody there to help them, and they make that decision that that's the right one for them. And I think as a result of that, if it's not the right putter, when then you end up changing quite quickly, I think this is when any putter, but particularly the Scotty Cameron putters, become an expensive putter. Now, like I said, the big thing for me is I do think a huge part of it is how the putter looks. I will massively agree with that. And then feel is key. And the one thing I do like with the Scotty Cameron putters is when you hit your putts, I think they feel lovely. I mean, the one thing I would say with Scotty Cameron putters, majority of them, there have been some models with inserts in the face, but the majority of them, it's a one-piece head. There's a couple, I mean, even my new one, it's multi-material, but the face and the sole on mine is still the same material. So as a general rule, the feel of a Scotty Cameron putter will be a little bit more firm and maybe even crisp. Now, I play a very soft ball, and I kind of like that feeling of maybe the firmer putter with the soft golf ball. I know there's some guys out there that like the soft ball with the soft head, and that's where maybe for them an insert putter would be great. And I think maybe the guy who plays with a really hard ball that gets that maximum distance, potentially something firm feel might not be exactly what they want. So I think looks becomes a huge importance. I think feel becomes huge. For me, that's very the art side of putters. And, you know, for somebody who uses TrackMan, I'm a big believer that we should, if we can, get science to help us. Now today, I'm not going to talk about which model I would particularly use, but this is just Scotty Cameron's as a whole. So I would always say, I don't think you should just stand there and hit putts. I think you should get fitted correctly. And I think it's important to understand, even when you go to a fitting, what you might be getting feedback about. So one of the first things I think that's important is that you get the length of the putter fitted correctly to you. So what you'll generally find, certainly with Scotty Cameron putters and the way Scotty likes putters to be fitted, is he doesn't necessarily think that your eyes should be directly over the golf ball. He thinks your eyes should be just inside, and what that will do is that will create a slight arc to your stroke. And as a result of that, he thinks that every putter should have something called toe flow, and that's where the toe of the putter has to travel further than the heel in order to keep the putter face square to that arc. Now, what you can see there is three models that hang very, very differently. So this putter here has got very minimal toe flow. This has kind of got mid toe flow, and this one here at the end will have much more toe flow. So that becomes very much down to what each individual needs within their stroke. Now for me personally, I would have TrackMan set up. I would definitely get guys hitting putts with their current putter, and some of the things we would look at is where the ball sets off, how good they are at setting the ball off in the correct place. Now that could simply be down to lie angle, and if the putter is too long, for example, your eyes will be very inside the ball, there'd be much more of an exaggerated arc, and the lie angle of the putter would tend to get the ball to set off left. If the putter was too short, your eyes actually might be the other side of the golf ball, the ball would set off right, and you might end up almost making an arc the wrong way. So I think the length of putter becomes key. For me, I know 35 inches is a really good length for me. It allows me to get my eyes just inside the golf ball, and then from there I can make my stroke. Now this is definitely where, for me, the science has probably been the biggest change. Is I think I can find something that visually I like the look of. I think I can find something that in theory suits my stroke really, really well. And I would definitely say from a visual perspective, something like the Newport, which is ultimately classic, is something I really, really like the look of, and definitely the heart says I should put with something like this. Or maybe even the Delmar. So shortly I'm going to show you a Scotty Cameron that I've still got that I think is about 22 years old, that I paid nearly £250 for 22 years ago. So the fact that these putters are now the price they are they expensive relative to what they were then? Maybe not so much. So my heart definitely says more of a blade putter. with quite a bit of toe hang, but I know from hitting putts on my TrackMan that something with a little bit less toe flow helps me set the ball off on line better. So I do think it's that blend between the art of putting with what looks right, what feels right, and the science of what actually helps you produce the most consistently through impact. Right, so here's my putter from 22 years ago. You can see it has been refurbed once, but unfortunately I left it in the head cover wet. So you can see it's not looking at its best, but a Delmar 3.5. It's beautiful blade. Love the look, love the feel. So very like the current offerings. It's just that solid piece of metal. And I love the look, love the feel, but unfortunately at the moment it doesn't help me be quite as consistent as I could be. Right, so are Scotty Cameron putters worth their money? And are they good value? I think the value thing is a very, very personal thing. You know, if you're somebody who that 350 to maybe 450 pounds is a huge amount of money and means you'd miss out on something else, well then maybe it's not good value for you. You know, if you're in a nice position that that volume of money doesn't mean a huge amount to you, it's not a lot of money, so it becomes good value anyway. I am a big believer though that with putters that you can't get a guarantee that you're going to hold more putts. You know, you can have that art, like I said, of looking right, feeling right. You can have the science to back you up that it should help you produce a more consistent stroke, maybe set the ball off on line better. But to be that good putter, you've got to be able to set the ball off on line, read greens well, and have good speed control. So even if with the new putter you can set it off on line and hit it at the right speed because you've practiced for that feel, if your green reading's not good, unfortunately this won't help. But I do think, you know, if you get fitted correctly, you know then that you've got a piece of equipment in your hands that at least helps you set the ball off in the right place every time. You can then in theory work on your green reading, work on your speed control, and if you can get all three of those things correct, that is a guarantee that you will hold more putts. Now unfortunately for me, guys don't look at that in that sense. They just say, I'm missing putts, therefore it's the putter's fault. I think if your putter is absolutely correct for you, the putter itself is giving you the best opportunity. And I do think if you get the right putter, you could very easily have this club in your bag in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years time, in which case that big investment right now actually becomes phenomenal value further down the line. I think as well with Scotty Cameron putters, if you get to that point where you fall out of love with it, the resale value is generally better than most of the putters because they are a highly desirable brand that a lot of golfers don't necessarily want to go out and pay full price, but you'll still get a great price secondhand. But like I was saying, I think where the putter's good is you could have that in your bag in a number of years. I think it's highly unlikely that if you're a super keen golfer, you're going to be playing the same driver in 5 years, 10 years time as you are now, because science will definitely be able to back up why you should change driver, where it won't necessarily be able to back that up with putter. So my conclusion, are Scotty Cameron putters worth the money? Yes, I think they are. You know, like me as a kid, my first Scotty Cameron putter wasn't even driven by me hitting good putts with it. It was driven by the fact that I bought a Tyrillian putter after Tiger Woods won the Masters in '97. And I still think maybe the younger generations buy the putter that their favourite player uses. So I think it's a different drive with putter than it is with all the other clubs. But I do think they are good value if you get the one that's right for you, that helps you be as consistent as you can. Like I said, there's no guarantees that you're going to hold more putts, but it's always going to give you the best possibility to do so. So guys, hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you have, like and share it, comment below and I'll get back to as many people as I can. If you've enjoyed today's content and you don't subscribe currently, please consider clicking that subscribe button, but remember to ring that notification bell and then you find out when I drop a new video. Follow me on my social media platforms, all under Ali Taylor Golf. Hopefully catch up with some of you guys down here soon. Stay in contact.